check out this Les Paul. That's right, this is a Les Paul. Even though we might look at it and say SG Custom, this is a Les Paul Custom from 1961. Remember that there are 5 different versions of the Les Paul from the 1950s and 60s. You've got the Junior, the TV, the Special, the Standard, and the Custom. But they didn't all become the SG during the same year. The TV model and the Special became an SG in November of 1959, but the Junior and the Standard and the Custom became an SG in 1963. So it's kind of funny how Gibson phased in that name, going away from Les Paul. Lots of different reasons why they dropped the Les Paul name. Lots of different guesses. I'd love to hear yours down in the comments. Anyway, this is a 1961 Gibson Les Paul Custom. Check it out. Les Paul Custom. And if you look at the catalogs from 1961, you'll see it written as Les Paul Custom. It's not referring to SG at all. But this is the coolest one of these SG body Les Paul Customs I have ever had. My favorite one to play and the absolute coolest story. My employee Walter drove down to Florida to meet with Rose, and I had been speaking with Rose for like maybe 9 months or a year about this guitar. It was her dad's guitar. And her dad's name was Arthur, and he played in a band called the Trumpet Kings down in Miami, Florida in the 1960s. She said that he had 3 of these, and that her siblings got one, and she got this one. And it was so, so cool. It still had the orange silk wrap flat wounds, which we have around the shop here. We retained those when we got it, so it had not been played in many, many, many decades. And so we have done everything to get it cleaned up, back into playing condition, and now it is fantastic. So it's a really nice playing guitar that's 100% all original parts and finish, spectacular. No breaks or repairs. These are prone to having issues with the neck joint, and it was just a little bit of a fragile design by Gibson back during that time period when they were transitioning away from the kind of thicker single cut Les Paul body to this SG style, and also they were slimming the neck profiles down, so you ended up with a little less meat there at the neck joint. This one has no indication of any kind of stress fracture or repair at all, never been broken, just nice, clean, exactly the way we want it. So same with the headstock here. Of course, it's a Gibson, so a lot of times you'll have headstock repairs or headstock fractures or cracks. This one shows absolutely nothing. Perfect, never had any break, never had a repair, exactly what I look for. That was one of the things that drew me to this guitar. It had clearly been played and loved, but not abused, and was just super, super, super cool. 100% original, so it still has the original fretless wonder frets. Those kind of started life as low and flat. It was supposed to be like a professional's fret, and maybe back then when you're just comping jazz chords and stuff, that made sense, and today it doesn't make quite as much sense. But they're actually kind of nice to play if they haven't been worn, and so that's really the problem with them, is that all of them got played a lot, so they don't stand up to much fret wear. This one has not that much fret wear, a little bit, of course it's been played and that sort of thing, but I found it nice to play on the fretless Warner frets. If you want to do big bend rock and roll stuff, you're going to want some fat frets on here anyway. So we've kind of left that decision up to the next owner. If you'd like to have us install frets inside the binding, super clean job, we'd be happy to do that for you. So just reach out to us, let us know. But the other thing that blew me away about this one was some of the best sounding PAFs I've ever heard on this guitar. Bridge pickup is divine, neck pickup is divine. Remember that the middle position on the 3 pickup humbucker guitars, unless you go messing with the solder and the magnet, it's out of phase. So up is neck pickup, down is bridge pickup. Middle position is middle pickup and bridge pickup, out of phase from each other. So this magnet in the middle pickup is actually reversed, and that's what yields an out of phase tone. So it's fun to play. You've got to roll back on the tone position to get what you want. I find that very talented players can make it sound killer. I sometimes struggle with that out of phase sound. So if you do want us to flip the magnet, we'd be happy to do that as well. All you have to do is break the solder on the cover, pull the cover off, slide the magnet out, spin it around, and reinstall it. So if you want an in-phase middle, we can also do that for you, but I don't go changing solder unless I absolutely have to. So that's how I've left this one here. Yeah, and the neck is perfect on this guitar. It actually kind of surprised me it's a little bit fatter here at the first fret than I would think a 61 SG body Les Paul Custom would be. So let me measure it for you. So this is how we measure the neck profile on vintage guitars like this. I'll leave you Amazon affiliates link below if you want to pick one up. It's like 35 bucks on Amazon. So we measure the fatness of the neck here, right in front of the first fret, front to back. And we're measuring just the wood, not on top of the fret, just the wood. We measure it in hundredths of an inch. So a typical 61 is going to be about 80 hundredths, almost as slim as like 77 hundredths. Like I've had them really, really slim, especially the standards will be super slim. This one, if we do that measurement, I'm getting 83. So about 3 hundredths of an inch fatter than we'd normally see. That's what we call like a brackish neck profile for a burst. So like an early 60, you know, your 00 is going to be like 59 fatness. That's going to be like 85. Your 1,000 to 2,000, you know, zero space 1,000 to 2,000 burst range is going to measure about 82 hundredths of an inch thick here at the first fret, and then up to 90 at the 12th fret. So that's what this one is. If I'm measuring just right, it says 89, but if I played with it, it would probably say 90. So it's kind of a brackish burst neck profile. It's not the like typical 61, which would be, you know, 78, 80. It's subtle. It's still kind of a thinner neck, but it's not that crazy blade neck that you might see on a lot of these guitars. So anyway, it's a really great player. It's got just enough fall off of this fretboard down here to get enough break angle over the bridge, which sometimes these suffer from. A lot of times you'll see the bridge cranked all the way down because of some neck issues or something. This one is not that. It's got just enough break angle. Plays nice, sounds great. I called in Riggs to play it for us and show us how it sounds. So that's the 1961 Gibson Les Paul Custom. Beautiful SG body. I think these are some of my favorite sounding PAFs I've ever played. Just rich and fat. Beautiful sounding guitar. Nice neck. Yeah, no breaks or repairs. So I love that. My name is John. My shop's called True Vintage Guitar here in Birmingham, Alabama. If you want to check out some of the other vintage inventory we have, there's a link down below. If this is still available, there's also going to be a link to the listing. We'd love to have you check it out. There's all the pictures inside and out. And yeah, if you're this deep in the video, then you probably like watching vintage guitars. Would you take a second to hit subscribe? We're doing about 2 a week of all the guitars that I like to source, which are what I call uncirculated. You know, typically like original owner or families of the original owner, or at least guitars that have been off market for decades and decades, sitting in closets unplayed. We get to have the privilege to clean them up and do any repairs necessary and get them playing like the professional instruments we believe them to be, and put them back in the hands of players. So anyway, thanks for watching.